How do you get your child or children registered in a public school in the UK? We all hear that your children can go to public schools in the UK for free. But do you also know that they can go to private schools? Yes, they can, but that is a topic for another day because it's actually not cheap, right? Private schools are really expensive in the UK, so we can all make do with public schools for now, except you have the means and you're financially capable for your children to go to private schools. And for the public schools that your children can go to in the UK, some are obviously highly rated than the others. So how can you choose the best schools for your children to go to even though they are public schools? How can you access the best public schools in the UK? What are the criteria? And how can you make the council give your children the school of your choice? Because I know that you would obviously have a choice. So we'll be discussing all these and more in today's video. Kindly stick around with me till the end so that you can get all the juicy information. My name is Tochi. You guys are welcome to my channel. Please like this video, give it a thumbs up if you get value from it. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, because I share content that you would definitely love, how you can move to the UK, life in the UK and all that good stuff. And to all my returning subscribers, you guys are welcome back. First things first, if we're talking about enrolling your children in schools in the UK, we must first of all understand that there is the age factor. So the age of each child will determine the class that he or she would be in, and there is the September factor that comes into play. What do I mean by that? Now, if your child has not clocked the particular age for that class by the 31st of August for that year, then he might not be in that class that you would want him to be, right? So you might discover that children born in the same year might not be in the same class. For instance, if your child is 3 years, officially to start school in the UK to get 15 hours or 30 hours depending on your circumstance and the city you live in. So if you're applying for your child to start nursery and that child has not clocked 3 years by the 31st of August of that year, that child might not be taken into nursery for that year, right? So children born for that year from January to August would be taken to start school, you know, during the registration, but children born from September to December of that year might miss that class. They would have to wait till the next year so that they can enter nursery. So for children to start reception by September, they all have to be 4 years at the time of registering. So you might put that into consideration as well and prepare your mind that your child might drop a class if you move into the UK. That is why you would see that 2 children born in the same year might not be in the same class. Any child who is born from September to December would obviously not be in the same class with children born from January to August of that same year, because at the time of registering for the class for their age mates, they have clocked that particular age before they resume school in September. But those who are born from September to December, obviously during the registration or when they're supposed to start school by September, they haven't completed that age, right? So that is just the thing. So you must bear that in mind. Now, if you plan for your child to start school, if you have children that are less than 3 years, you have to consider putting them in nursery if you want. It's not compulsory, but that means that you have to pay for it. And childcare, nursery here is not cheap. But from 3 years, they can start school. They can get free 15 hours a week or 30 hours a week, depending on your circumstance and the city you live in, right? So from 4 years, school begins fully. So the children start reception by 4 years and it's absolutely free. Okay, so if you have children from 4 years and above, then you have nothing to worry about, because all you have to do is not worry about getting them a good school and then they can now start free of charge. Of course, you have to get them their school uniforms, bags, shoes and other things they might need for school. After your children have come into the UK, they are expected to start school as soon as possible, right? So it's up to you if you come first for you to start researching about the school you love your children to go to, highly rated schools by Ofsted and all of that, schools close to your homes and all that, so that when they come, it will be easier for you. You don't have to just start going about, you know, how they can go into school when they're in the UK. You can do that if you're in the UK before them. But if it happens that all of you move to the UK together, then that's fine. You can start as soon as possible to start looking for schools schools for them. Okay, like I said, the council is responsible for allocating schools to your children, though you have to make your choices. I think it's about 3 choices, and then the council would now allocate anyone they decide for them. They usually go with the first choice most times, except your first choice is filled, because from my understanding, most schools do first come first serve, right? Like for Catholic schools, for instance, they take Catholics first, and then people that have siblings in the school first, and some other things they check. First of all, they do the first come first serve thing, so you have to apply on time, and then they also take Catholics first. So if you're a Catholic, you would want to come with your children's baptism certificate. Even if you're not a Catholic, if you're a Christian, you would want to get recommendation letter from your church and all that, just so that you can stand a chance of getting into the school. They also consider people who already have siblings in the school as well first, right? So these are the things they check, and you must also have your children immunization certificate. They have to check if it's up to date and all that, and then they ask for proof of address. So you should be sure that you've gotten your accommodation, or you would have an address to show them when you're applying for schools for your children. Okay, and then you'd also give your reasons as well why you'd want your children to attend the schools that you have chosen. So make your reasons to be very compelling and convincing enough for them to, you know, give your children their first choice, because most parents will want their children to go to their first choice. But if they don't put your child in your first choice, they might go for your second or even your third, right? Usually first or second, but in what scenarios you will get your third choice, right? That is why you should apply on time, so that if they go for the first come first serve thing, then your child would be given their first choice. Okay, I'm sure that you don't want to go through all the stress of appealing and all that. Yes, because people actually do it, and there is no guarantee that if you go to appeal, your child will still be given the first choice. Okay, so try for your first application to be convincing enough why you want your child to go to that school. You know, apply on time, so that you don't have to go through the stress of appealing and all that. And yeah, before I forget, your postcode also determines, you know, the school your child will be given, because they usually consider the proximity to the school and all that. So you should consider that when you're applying for their schools. Try to look out for good schools around you when you're making your choice. Even if you have any reason to stretch out, then it doesn't have to be too far away from your house. So this applies for primary and secondary schools as well. If you go online on the government website, you will see all the ratings of the schools in your environment, in your city. Do well to read up about them, do your research, so that you can decide on the schools you want your children to go to based on their ratings, right? Yes, all of them are public schools, but like I said, some are highly rated than the others, and you would want your child to go to a good school, a highly rated school. So take your time and do your research before you make your choice. From my experience, most people usually want their children to go to Christian schools, Catholic schools and all that, but the fact that you want your children to go to such schools does not mean that they would get it, because, you know, I've heard people say, oh, I wanted my child to go to this school, but he didn't get when we applied, okay, and that was why we had to go to this other school, right? So that is why you need to apply on time, because the truth is, once a school has taken the number of children they want for that section, that is it. Nothing will make them to take another person. So if they're supposed to be 30 in a class, for instance, and that 30 is complete, there's nothing you can do about it, because you cannot make them become 31. That would be against their standard, because the standard says they have to be 30 in this class for this section, right? So once they have taken the 30 children they need, they are closed. That is it. Also note that there's nothing like double promotion, that, oh, my child was supposed to be in year 3, but now he's in year 5 or year 6 because he's too intelligent, he's too smart, he's too bright. I don't think that happens here. Okay, you might note that as well, because like I stated earlier, just in case you missed it, the age of your child will determine the class that he would be in the UK, right? So it doesn't matter the class that he was in your home country before you guys moved to the UK. His age and when he was born exactly would determine his class. But the good thing, as I have learned, is that those children born from September to December end up doing very well in their class, because they are older, they are smarter than those people in their class, right? And then if you have succeeded in getting schools for your children and they have started school, please try so that they don't have to miss school. And if they have to miss school for any reason, do well to inform the school because it's really very, very important. I remember one day that my child was going to miss school because she was going for a hospital appointment. I informed the teacher, but I failed to inform the school because I didn't even know. I thought it was just to inform the teacher and you're good to go. I didn't know that I was supposed to inform the school as well. And then by 9 a.m. that morning, I think after they have done their morning registration and all that, she was not in school. The school sent me a message and said, this person is not in school. Could you please give us a reason why she's not in school? In my head, I was like, why am I getting this message? I thought I informed you guys that she was not going to be coming to school because she was going to the hospital that morning. But then the good thing is that we went to the hospital. She finished on time. We finished before 10 a.m. or so. And then she said she wanted to go to school. So she went to school that morning. And then when I went to the office to inform them that, see what happened, I actually told the school teacher. That was when they told me that even though I had informed the class teacher, I should also do well to inform the school because it's very important, right? And that it was actually good that I brought her to school that morning since, she finished on time from the hospital. I think there's a fine you would have to pay if a child misses school for a particular number of hours and all that. They know how they calculate it. And then if a child goes to school late all the time, things like that, they just have a way of recording all these things and they will reach out to you if they discover that there's something disturbing about you, about your child missing school, about your child always coming late to school and all that. So you see another reason why you should consider picking a school that is close to your home. And also, children from reception to year 2, that is from 4 years to 6 years, are entitled to free school meals and is not classed as public funds. So yes, the meals in schools are not classed as public funds from reception to year 2, right? So you would want your children to have that, except you want to pack their lunch from school, because you are free to do that as well. Because some parents love packing lunch for their children, love packing food from home for their children. They don't like their children to eat, school meals and all that. So you can actually do that as well if you want, but just so you know that the child is entitled to free school meals from reception to year 2. So from year 3, you would have to now pay for it in school. Okay, so yeah, we've come to the end of today's video. Thank you all for watching. I hope it helps, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye bye.